If you are shopping for yacht upgrades right now, you are about to waste tens of thousands of dollars on features that will kill your resale value. I am going to show you the 10 upgrades experienced owners avoid at all costs, starting with the absolute worst one first. Hydraulic swim platforms from TNT Lifts, or SeaLift. At the boat show, you watch the demonstration. The platform lowers smoothly into the water, creating that beach club atmosphere. It rises back up, tucking perfectly against the transom. $15,000 to $40,000 depending on size. You think you are buying convenience. What you are actually buying is a maintenance nightmare that starts failing within 3 years. Daniel, a 71-year-old retired physician from Charleston, bought a 54-foot Viking yacht with a 4-year-old hydraulic platform. Second season, anchored in the Bahamas, he went to lower it for swimming. It descended halfway and stopped. The platform hung at a 45-degree angle, completely unusable. They cut their trip short and motored back to Fort Lauderdale. Blown seals in both rams, corroded fittings, stress cracks in mounting brackets, $8,400. This happens every 3 to 5 years with hydraulic platforms. A marine hydraulic specialist explained the pattern. Owners use platforms heavily the first 2 seasons. Then seals fail, fittings corrode, brackets crack. Minor repairs cost $1,500 to $2,000. If rams need replacement, $5,000 to $12,000. Over 15 years, you spend more maintaining it than installation cost. But here is what destroys resale value. A BYC-certified surveyors flag these as major concerns. When buyers see this in surveys, they see $15,000 in deferred maintenance coming off their offer immediately. One forum comment summarized it. Hydraulic swim platform on a 10-year-old boat, automatic $15,000 reduction in my offer. Daniel replaced his with a fixed Teak platform for $6,000. A fixed platform costs nothing to maintain, provides the same functionality, and buyers do not see it as a ticking time bomb. Now let me show you the second worst upgrade, and this one surprises most people. Automatic marine systems with complex electronics, watermakers running on schedules, bilge pumps with phone alerts, fully automated navigation with Garmin GPSMAP or Raymarine Axiom integration. Everything works until salt air corrodes a circuit board or software glitches in ways you cannot troubleshoot. Here's what nobody tells you. Automation assumes perfect conditions. At sea, those assumptions fail constantly. Paul, a 64-year-old software engineer, bought a 48-foot Sea Ray yacht with over $30,000 in automation. 3 days into a passage to the Bahamas, the watermaker controller failed. Stuck in flush mode. Could not make water. Corroded circuit boards from salt air. The manufacturer discontinued that model. He found a used replacement on eBay for $800. By the time it arrived and he installed it, they delayed departure by 2 weeks. A marine systems expert put it simply, every layer of automation adds another failure point, and here is the part's nightmare. Proprietary controllers use third-party components. When companies stop supporting older models, repairs become impossible. One owner replaced his entire automated bilge monitoring with basic float switches. $300 instead of $2,000 for updating automation. Paul eventually removed most automation. Simple on-off switches, float switches, standalone autopilot. Everything works when needed, and when something fails, he fixes it himself. The automation, promising effortless operation, delivered ongoing failures. That pattern continues with our next upgrade, real teak deck installations. Nothing matches the beauty of properly laid teak. The craftsmanship, the traditional appearance, the elegance, the costs never stop from installation day forward. James, a 69-year-old retired maritime professional, bought a 52-foot Hatteras cruiser specifically for its teak decks. The previous owner installed them for $45,000. In the first season, maintenance consumed entire weekends. Light sanding every 3 months, teak cleaner quarterly. In the second season, seams started shrinking. Year 3, screws showed above the surface. The specialist explained teak decks need complete refastening every 10 to 15 years. $15,000 to $25,000. Complete replacement in 20 years. A yacht surveyor who inspects 20 to 30 boats monthly will not buy boats with teak decks under any circumstances. The deck is screwed through fiberglass, creating hundreds of penetrations. Every screw is a potential leak point. Over time, bedding degrades. Water infiltrates the deck core. Repairing damaged core costs $30,000 to $60,000. Smart buyers walk away. When James listed his boat, every buyer loved the appearance, but understood maintenance meant $2,000 to $3,000 annually. Several said they would remove the teak immediately. James was asking them to pay for a feature they planned to eliminate. The math is brutal. $45,000 for installation, $2,000 annually for maintenance, $20,000 for refastening, $45,000 for replacement after 20 years, or install quality non-skid for $8,000 lasting 15 years. The teak cost $100,000 more over 2 decades for aesthetics. The next upgrade creates similar problems. Complex marine air conditioning systems, multiple zones, individual temperature control, central system like your house. A proper multi-zone chilled water system runs $15,000 to $25,000. Then you discover maintenance costs. Richard bought a 48-foot yacht with a 3-zone chilled water system installed for $22,000. In the second season, the compressor failed. $6,800 for replacement. Chilled water systems work harder than self-contained units because they cool water that then cools air. Extra steps stress components. Plus, water lines developed leaks. 3 days tracing them. A marine heating ventilation specialist who installed over 200 systems explained the problem. On recreational boats, they sit idle for months, run hard during summer, sit idle again. This cycling accelerates wear. He recommends self-contained units for boats under 60 feet. Half the installation cost, 1/3 the maintenance. Forum discussions reveal buyer attitudes. If I see chilled water air conditioning, I budget $8,000 to $12,000 for compressor replacement within 3 years. That comes off my offer. Richard removed his system, installed 3 self-contained units for $8,000 total. His new system cools better, uses less power, and future repairs cost a fraction of the old system. But if you think complex air conditioning is bad, wait until you see oversized battery banks. Oversized house battery banks from Battleborn or Victron Energy. Modern lithium promises unlimited power, no generator, silent operation, freedom from diesel noise. Owners invest $15,000 to $30,000 in massive banks without calculating whether they will ever use that capacity. Stephen, a 58-year-old engineer, upgraded his trawler with 800 amp-hours of Victron lithium batteries. He calculated carefully. The refrigerator draws 3 amps. Freezer adds 2. Electronics pull 4. 800 amp-hours should give 3 days without charging. After a season of cruising, reality arrived. Never used more than 30% capacity. We anchor one night, maybe 2, then back at a marina where the alternator charges everything. I am carrying 500 pounds of batteries never fully utilized. That weight costs fuel efficiency, about $300 per season in additional fuel. A marine electrical specialist explained the mistake. Owners calculate maximum possible draw and size accordingly. They assume anchoring for days. Reality differs. Most coastal cruisers spend 80% of time within 20 miles of shore. They visit marinas regularly. 400 amp-hours handles this perfectly. 800 doubles cost and adds weight for capacity never used. And here is the resale surprise. Experienced buyers see 800 amp-hours and wonder why the seller thought that necessary. They question whether the boat has electrical issues. They see the weight penalty. Stephen wishes he installed 400 amp-hours and spent the remaining 8,000 on solar and a better alternator. That combination would have given the same result at half the weight. Now the next upgrade shares that problem of solving issues most owners never have. Built-in generator systems from Kohler, Westerbeke, or Northern Lights. A generator solves real problems. Powers air conditioning at anchor. Charges batteries quickly. Runs household appliances. The problem is maintaining a second engine sitting unused 90% of the time. Frank bought a 44-foot yacht with a Kohler 8-kilowatt generator, 5 years old. 150 hours. First haul out changed his thinking. Corrosion covered every surface. The heat exchanger looked submerged in salt water. A raw water pump developed a leak. 3,200 for repairs. The mechanic explained generators hate sitting idle. Starting monthly for 5 minutes is worse than not starting at all. A technician specializing in generators laid out maintenance reality. Oil changes every 100 hours. Impeller replacement annually. Coolant flush every 2 years. Valve adjustment every 500 hours. Most owners run generators 20 to 40 hours per season. Annual maintenance runs 400 to 700 even when nothing breaks. Over 10 years, 8,000 to 15,000 maintaining a system providing convenience but not necessity. Frank added solar and lithium batteries. The combination provided enough power for everything except air conditioning. For the handful of nights wanting air conditioning at anchor, he runs the main engine for an hour. His generator has not started in 2 years. Forum discussions reveal owners with generators wish they had that space and money in solar and batteries instead. That pattern of unnecessary complexity continues. Premium navigation electronics with integrated helm pods featuring Garmin GPSMAP, Raymarine Axiom, or Simrad NSS systems. Modern boat shows feature helm stations looking like spacecraft, sleek surfaces, flush-mounted displays. Everything is integrated. Technology impresses and photographs beautifully. Then 10 years pass, and you want to upgrade navigation. That is when you discover what integrated means. A yacht electronics installer in Seattle has this conversation monthly. The owner wants to upgrade displays. He measures cutouts. New displays are 2 inches larger. Openings cannot be enlarged without cutting structural fiberglass. Options are to keep obsolete equipment, custom fabricate ugly adapters, or replace the entire helm pod for $25,000 to $40,000. David, a 61-year-old technology executive, faced this with his 2014 Azimut Cruiser. Beautiful integrated helm with 3 12-inch displays. By 2023, chart plotter software was obsolete. Radar had half the range of modern units. He assumed boat electronics would upgrade like his career technology. Instead, displays were permanently married to a custom-molded helm. Upgrading meant replacing the entire structure. Quotes ranged from $32,000 to $48,000. He kept the old equipment. Buyers seeing integrated helms see trapped, obsolete technology. They know upgrading costs more than the value it adds. Experienced owners know boats with traditional panels maintain flexibility. Unbolt old displays, bolt in new ones. 500 to 1,000 instead of 35,000. The integrated helm, looking impressive at shows, becomes a liability. In marine electronics, that moment arrives every 5 to 7 years. And speaking of aesthetic choices becoming liabilities, the next upgrade promises elegance but delivers constant maintenance. Composite teak decking. The pitch sounds perfect. All the beauty of real teak without maintenance. Ultraviolet resistant materials. Stays cool underfoot. Looks elegant for decades. Reality emerged after 5 to 7 years when adhesive bonds began failing. A marine surveyor with 35 years experience surveys 10 to 15 boats monthly. Any boat over 7 years old with composite decking shows problems. He taps with a rubber mallet. Solid sections sound firm. Delaminated areas sound hollow. Most boats, 15 to 20% of the surface, were compromised. Water infiltrated beneath. Once that happens, problems accelerate. Robert bought a 50-foot Bertram Express cruiser with composite teak, 8 years old. The survey noted soft spots, but the seller claimed it was minor. Robert negotiated $5,000 off. Within a year, soft areas expanded. Water worked under larger sections. The cheapest quote was $18,000 to remove old decking, dry fiberglass, and install new material. The highest quote reached $32,000. He had the worst sections removed and replaced with non-skid paint. $8,000 total, and the deck looks patched rather than elegant. Original installation costs $30,000 to $50,000. After 7 years, material fails. Replacement costs nearly as much. One owner wrote, "If I see composite teak on a used boat, I walk away. It is either failing or will fail soon." Why pay the asking price for a boat needing $20,000 in deck work within 2 years? And if you think composite is problematic, the next upgrade takes maintenance even further. Custom teak interior. Refinishing. Beautiful wood joinery defines classic yacht design. Warm glow of varnished teak, traditional craftsmanship, pride of maintaining bright work. Then you spend a season in the tropics and learn why production builders switched to synthetics. Michael bought a classic 42-foot cruiser with extensive teak interior. The previous owner spent 3 years refinishing everything. Every surface glowed with 6 coats of varnish. First season cruising from North Carolina to Florida Keys, he noticed varnish degrading at every anchorage. By marathon, entire sections needed complete refinishing. He spent more time maintaining bright work than exploring. A yacht refinisher in Palm Beach explained reality. Teak maintenance in humid climates becomes full-time occupation. Varnish needs recoating every 6 months minimum. Tropical conditions every 3 months. Each recoat requires sanding, cleaning, and multiple coats. For boats with extensive bright work, 40 to 60 hours twice a year. Professional refinishing runs $80 to $120 per hour. Complete refresh costs $3,000 to $6,000. Do it yourself and sacrifice weeks of cruising time. Forum discussions reveal experienced cruisers avoid boats with extensive bright work. One sailor painted over all interior teak. Some thought I committed sacrilege, but I have not touched that wood in 3 years. The previous owner spent every weekend maintaining varnish. When Michael sold 2 years later, bright work became a negotiating point. Buyers factor in the cost of maintaining or stripping everything. The boat lost value because of features initially attracting buyers. That brings us to our final upgrade, oversized watermaker systems from Spectra or Katadyn. At marine stores, salespeople guide you toward capacity. How many gallons per hour? What size tanks? How long between fill-ups? They never address the real question. How often will you actually run this? A marine installer who installed over 300 watermakers described the pattern. Buyers purchase Spectra or Katadyn 40 to 50 gallon per hour systems wanting unlimited water. They imagine long passages, remote anchorages, and self-sufficiency. Reality arrives. Most cruisers spend 80% of time within 20 miles of shore. They visit marinas regularly. They never use full capacity. Tom, a 64-year-old engineer, bought a 48-foot trawler with a Spectra 40-gallon per hour watermaker. I thought it would give me freedom. Instead, a maintenance schedule. The system requires running every 3 to 5 days, or membranes need pickling. I am at the dock half the time. When cruising, I rarely anchor long enough to justify running it. In 3 years, it used maybe 20% capacity. Maintenance compounds the problem. Membranes cost $300 to $1,000 to replace every 3 to 5 years. Pre-filters need changing every few months. A high-pressure pump requires rebuilding every 1,500 to 2,000 hours. Run irregularly, and membranes develop biological growth. When Tom listed his boat, every surveyor commented. One buyer walked away because maintenance records showed irregular use. $8,000 came off the asking price. For boats marketed to coastal cruisers, large watermakers create more problems than they solve. Now you have seen all 10 upgrades experienced owners avoid. They prioritize showroom appeal over long-term reliability. They create dependency on expensive specialized services. They assume perfect conditions never existed at sea, and they hurt resale value. What sellers think adds value gives buyers leverage to negotiate lower or walk away. The marine industry designs for boat shows, not for owners maintaining boats for 10 years. These upgrades look impressive in photographs. They help sell new boats, but they create compounding maintenance expenses, reduce interested buyers, and give ABYC-certified surveyors ammunition negotiating prices down. For anyone, buying a yacht as a long-term investment, the smartest choice means choosing the simpler boat. Manual controls instead of automation. Proven systems instead of cutting-edge technology. Solid construction instead of aesthetic enhancements requiring constant maintenance. Fixed platforms instead of hydraulic complexity. The boats holding value best are built with maintainable systems, straightforward technology, and construction prioritizing longevity over showroom appeal. You now understand why hydraulic swim platforms top the list, why automation fails at sea, why Teak costs more than it is worth, and why bigger is not better. The next time a salesperson pitches you one of these upgrades, you will know exactly why to walk away. That knowledge might save you tens of thousands of dollars and years of frustration.